we today? You guys are awake. I love it. Let's give it up for the worship team. That was awesome. I love getting to see you guys come up front and worship. Please know that is always available for you guys. Please, it is. We encourage it. Come worship at the front if you want to. Bring your friends, jump, dance, like literally however you need to worship. Please worship. Well, my name's Emily. If I have not met you before, let's give it up to our new fifth graders in the room. Welcome. We're so glad you guys are here. Today, we're starting a new series called Reputation, where we're going to be talking all about sharing our faith. And so often we think about sharing our faith using our words, but in this series, we're actually going to talk about how we can share our faith using our actions instead. And for a second, I want you guys to think about your favorite character from a book, maybe a video game or a TV show. What about them do you love? Is it how they talk? Is it the things they believe in? Some sort of reputation that they have built for themselves, and that's what draws us to our favorite characters. But what is a reputation? I have a definition I'm going to put on the screen. It's called, a reputation is what you're known for. Can you guys say that with me? A reputation is what you're known for. It's how people see you. It's the things that you say, the way that you act. It's the overall opinion others have of you, whether good or bad. And a reputation is built on true things like being a good friend or being funny or silly. Or it can also be built on rumors or misunderstandings that don't actually reflect who you actually are. But some characters have such big reputations that they can be recognized in just one line. When Tony Stark said, "I love you 3000," it changed the Marvel universe as we knew it, because it was never the same. That it marked us in such a way because it showed us something that he loved and cared about. Do you guys want to play a game? Yeah. I need a couple of volunteers. I'm going to take you two. We're going to go you two. We'll go you two. We'll go you and you. Yeah, come on up. All right. I need, ladies, you're going to be on this side, right here. I need you to stand right here. Right here. So make a line for me. Make a line. Line this way. Gentlemen, you're going to come right here. Okay, make a line this way. Beautiful. How this is going to work, I'm going to move my little desk thing right here. How this is going to work is I'm going to put, our amazing production team is going to put a quote on the screen. And your job is, if you think you know who it is, you are going to run to the middle and hit the buzzer and then answer who you think it is. If you're right, you get points for your team. Sound good? Yeah. You guys ready? Yeah. Are you guys ready? Yeah. Let's hear it for our teams. All right. Let's get that first quote on the board. What is it? Who is it? Groot. Is it Groot? It is Groot. All right. That was an easy one. Let's see. They're not all going to be that easy. Next one. Captain America. Woo! All right, boys, I need you cheering for the boys. Girls, I need you cheering for the girls. There we go. All right, next one. 3, 2. Hagrid. Is it Hagrid? Yeah, it is. Points for the girls. We got 2 points over here. We got 1 point over here. Sonic the Hedgehog. Let's go. 3 points for the boys. Next one. To infinity and beyond. Say it. Buzz Lightyear. It is Buzz Lightyear. Let's go. All right. Let's see. Next one. Do or do not. There is no try. You can phone a friend if you need to. Who is it? They got to hear. Yoda? It is Yoda. Girls, you got to get on your quotes better. Let's go. Not all of them are sorry. All right. Just keep swimming. 3, 2, 1. All right, girls. Let's go into the girls. He had time. All right. It is Dory. All right, next one. Elsa. There it is. Come on, girls. They're saying they're way too close. They look about the same distance now. All right, next one. This is our tiebreaker. We don't need a tiebreaker, but we're gonna give it, see if the girls. The past can hurt, but the way I see it, you can either run from it or learn from it. Then say it. Help your team out. It's not. No, it is not Taylor Swift. False. Fired. Just kidding. This is from one of my favorite childhood movies, guys. Come on. It is not Oogway. No, it is not. Y'all. All right, y'all failed that one, but it's okay. Give it up for the boys. They won. It is Rafiki from The Lion King. Yeah. All right, go sit down. Good job. The boys, they win high fives. Just kidding. I'll give you guys a Snack Shack coupon for the 4 boys that played it. Just for the boys that played it, though. Sorry, I can't do it for everybody. That'd be way crazy. Thank you guys for playing that game. That was a ton of fun. There's power in these quotes, right? There's like powerful quotes that we hear and we're like, man, it really captures who somebody is, what they stand for, the legacy that they're leaving, and they inspire people. Even after, like Rafiki, y'all didn't know who he was, it still inspires me, his quotes. Even after they're gone, the people that drew them are no longer around, their quotes are still leaving a mark. And we might not realize how much potential we have for leaving a mark on other people's lives. So often we're so focused on not ruining our reputation. We're like, oh no, if I don't want to step too far out, like I don't want to ruin it, that we actually miss the chances and the ability that we have to daily create the reputation that we actually want to have. So today we're going to discuss a famous character in the Bible, someone who built a reputation for displaying what God could do in the many ways that he showed his faith. We're going to talk about a guy named Daniel. And you may have heard of Daniel before, but before Daniel was a lion tamer, he actually was a teenager. And in his teenage years, some crazy stuff happened in his life. When he was pretty young, his nation, Israel, got taken over by a foreign king. His name is King Nebuchadnezzar. You guys say King Nebuchadnezzar? It's a fun name, but not a great guy. He came in and he took over the nation of Israel. And he didn't just like take over and be like, I'm in charge now, and then you all can live your own lives, like do whatever you were doing before. No, that's not how this works. He said, no, I'm taking some of you guys captive and you're coming back with me. But specifically, he looked for the best and the brightest to come work for him in his palace. And now Daniel, he also had 3 friends, and their names were Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. And so the 3 of them came from noble Jewish families. They were nobility. They were well-to-do. They were well-educated. They were known for being very good-looking, which helps. And so when Nebuchadnezzar was looking for the best and the brightest, these 4 guys got chosen. And so they get taken to a foreign land, to a place they've never been before, that speaks languages they may have not even known yet. And the thing with the Babylonians is they didn't want you to just come and then continue being who you were before. No, you had to become Babylonian. If you were going to serve the Babylonian king, you had to be Babylonian. So they started by changing their names. Daniel's name actually got changed to Belteshazzar. So they called him Belteshazzar, which is a fun name. We can all say it together. Belteshazzar. Yeah. Hananiah got changed to Shadrach. Mishael got changed to Meshach. And Azariah got changed to Abednego. Those are probably the names you're more familiar with them knowing it, but those are their Babylonian names. So can you imagine being Daniel, you get taken to a foreign land that you're learning the language, new space, new people, and then suddenly they say, nope, your name that you've grown up with, not your name anymore. You're going to go by this name. That would feel like, oh my gosh, my identity is getting changed. Who I am as a person, they're trying to change who I am. And on top of all of this, the king lets them eat the same food as him. He says, they're going to eat from my table, which you're like, man, that's awesome. It's the best of the food of the best. But here's the thing. The Israelite people, the people that Daniel grew up in, and the God that Daniel serves and loves, told them not to eat certain things. And the things that the king's table are some of the things that he was told not to eat. And so now, these boys have a choice. Are they going to conform to the Babylonian way, the way that they're trying to change them and to form them and to shape them into being a Babylonian? Are they going to change in this and disregard what God commanded them to eat or not eat? And because here's the thing, God didn't just make up these rules just to make up rules. He said, don't eat these things because they're not good for you. It'd be like your mom being like, hey, I don't want you to drink caffeine or eat sugar or sodas or something because it's not good for your body and I want you to be healthy. God put these rules because he knew what was good to protect them. They didn't have all the same cooking things that we have nowadays for how to prepare things the best way. So some of the stuff was actually not healthy for them. But in addition to this, these rules were a way for God's people to stand out. For them to not look like every nation around them, to not be like every nation around them, so that when people looked at the Israelites, they were like, oh, I know who they serve. I know the God that they serve. They look different. They act different. They eat different. So it was a way for them to kind of look different and stand out as God's people. And so now the boys have a choice. Are they going to eat the food, or are they going to disregard what the king commanded and risk getting killed in order to continue doing what God told them to do? Let's see what they decide. It says in Daniel 1:1-19, says, but Daniel resolved not to defile himself with the royal food and wine. He asked the chief official for permission not to defile himself. This way, now God had caused the official to show favor and compassion to Daniel. But the official told Daniel, I'm afraid of my lord the king, who has assigned your food and drink. Why should he see you looking worse than the other men your age? The king would then have my head because of you. This guy's like, I am terrified that the king is going to kill me if you don't do what he tells you to do. Daniel then said to the guard, he's going to the guy slightly lower than the official, he's going to one of his honchos, he said, the guard whom the chief official had appointed over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, said, please test your servants for 10 days. Give us nothing but vegetables to eat and water to drink. Then compare our appearance with that of the young men who eat the royal food, and treat your servants in accordance with what you see. So he agreed to this and tested them for 10 days. At the end of the 10 days, they looked healthier and better nourished than any of the young men who ate the royal food. So the guard took away their choice food and the wine they were to drink and gave them vegetables instead. To these 4 young men, God gave knowledge and understanding of all kinds of literature and learning. And Daniel could understand visions and dreams of all kinds. Now, this was risky to disregard what the king had instructed. This could have gotten them killed. But Daniel decided he was going to follow God and not defile himself in this way. He said, I'm gonna put it to the test. And he goes to the person in charge of him and he says, I want you to test this. For a week and a half, give us just vegetables and water. And at the end of those 10 days, they looked better and healthier than the people they were competing with. That shouldn't make sense. The other people were eating the best food available, but Daniel and his friends looked healthier and stronger and could understand more things than their counterparts that ate the food that the king had given. So Daniel asked that they be tested in this, and when they saw it, that their actions, their choices showed God. Their actions and their choices showed that what God cared about mattered. And here's the thing, it was never about the food. It was not actually about the food at all. It was about a decision. It's not just a vegetarian endorsement. It's not saying vegetarian's the best kind of food to eat. They showed that they trusted God and were willing to do things God's way, even though it may not make sense to others, even when it doesn't make sense to everybody around them. Daniel and his friends began to build a reputation in these early days, not just of faith, but also of being the best of the best. Like when they followed what God had instructed them to do, you see what it said? God gave them wisdom, gave them understanding. That was from God. It made them understand things that many people didn't. Following God's way can also help us to grow in many ways that we may not even imagine. The gesture pointed towards the God who gave Daniel strength. And it's a small action. And it can feel risky to do things God's way, can't it? And be like, man, I'm not going to look like everybody else around me. Man, all my friends are gossiping, but I know it's wrong. So if I were to walk away, what are they going to think of me? Man, that person over there looks really lonely, but I'm going to feel so awkward, and they're going to think I'm weird if I go and sit with them because they're that weird kid, and I don't know. It feels risky, like we're going to risk our reputation and risk how people see us to do things God's way. And the world around you might not recognize why you show your faith or how it might be something that they might be a part of. And sometimes it can feel intimidating to show your faith, especially when you're still trying to figure out what you believe in your own walk with Jesus. That can feel intimidating, that can feel scary, but Daniel shows us that it's not about big, giant, proclamations of faith. It's about small moments where you choose God over everything else, where you choose good over what you know is not right. It's small choices in your everyday life that add up to the reputation that you want to build. Daniel didn't have a big plan. He just showed up in each situation with a desire to love and honor God. That's all it was. It was the small gestures that happened over time that gave him the confidence that he needed. Like Daniel, you might feel out of place sometimes, wandering around life and feeling like it's foreign. Daniel shows us that it's not figuring out that matters. It's not being perfect or having it all together. What matters most is being faithful in the little moment before you. Daniel shows us that we can show our faith by doing things God's way. Can we say that all together? We can show our faith by doing things God's way. Just like Daniel in this story, thousands of years later, the early church, after Jesus died, rose again, went back to heaven, the early church that was following him was facing a lot of trouble. People didn't like them. They didn't like what they believed. And so they actually would often get harassed. They'd get beat up. They'd sometimes get killed for their faith. And one of Jesus' best friends, a guy named Peter, writes a letter to one of the early churches at that time. And he wants to encourage them. And let's just read what he says in 1 Peter 3:13 through 17. It says, "Now who will want to harm you if you are eager to do good? But even if you suffer for doing good, what is right, God will reward you for it. So don't worry or be afraid of their threats. Instead, you must worship Christ as Lord of your life. If someone asks about your hope as a believer, always be ready to explain it. But do this in a gentle and respectful way. Keep your conscience clear. Then, if people speak against you, they'll be ashamed when they see what a good life you live because you belong to Christ. Remember, it is better to suffer for good, if that is what God wants, than to suffer for doing wrong. Peter wanted the believers to realize that the peace they displayed would tell the story of their faith. Every time that they loved people when people yelled insults at them. Every time that they chose kindness when people wanted to beat them up. Every time they chose forgiveness when people had hurt them or mistreated them. That was when they were showing their faith. And Peter reminds them to be ready. Be ready, be prepared. Just like you practice and you're prepared when you're learning an instrument, or you practice when you play a sport. Peter says, be ready to show your faith and practice learning how to follow God's ways. Peter encouraged the people to follow God's ways because when you do, you show others the path of peace. That is the example. When the early church was insulted, when it was harassed, when it was degraded, when it was beat up and looked down upon for their beliefs, Peter invited them to respond with gentleness and love, because we can show our faith by doing things God's way. So think about like everyday things that tell a story about you. If I were to look at the things that you watch, would I figure out what your favorite sports team was? Or maybe the stickers on your water bottle or your laptop, maybe tell a story of who you are, maybe the posters in your room. The little things that show people who you are. But how do we show people who Jesus is in the little things? And here are two places to start. And the first one is this: learn God's ways. Learn God's ways. Spend time with him. You can't act God's ways if you don't know what they are. This book right here looks intimidating, but it is one of the best ways to learn who God is and what he says. So read the stories of what Jesus said. What did Jesus say? How did he act? How did he treat people? How would that affect my life? How would that change how I live? Learn God's ways. There is poetry in here. There is prophetic words in here. There is so many things in these stories that we can learn from and apply to our own lives. So you can learn from the Bible. You can learn from other people in your small groups. As you surround yourself with people that also are chasing after Jesus, also are trying to follow Jesus, that's another way we can learn God's way. From your small group leaders, ask them questions. If they don't know, they'll say, I don't know, let's figure it out together. We love questions around here, so please talk with your small group leaders because they want to help you learn God's way. And the second one is simply live God's ways. To be able to learn how to do something and show it, we have to do it. We have to live it. So even when it feels awkward and different at first, practice asking yourself the question, how do I do things God's way? How could I live this out? If I could be doing something, it could be doing something more often, like spending more time with God, or being nicer to someone, or it could be doing stuff less often, like judging other people or making fun of people. It could be showing love and care in the small ways of sitting with someone who's lonely, or seeing someone that's outside of the group and inviting them into it. Whatever it is, asking yourself, how can I do things God's way? Because sometimes it's not easy to display faith. It's not easy to live our faith out. But remember the words that Peter gave to the early churches: do not be frightened, but in your hearts revere Christ as Lord. Don't be afraid. Remember who Jesus is. So over time, people will see your faith as you practice doing things God's way. So as you guys head to small groups in just a second, I have one question that I want you guys to be thinking about. And it's this: what's one thing you can say or do that shows your faith in God to the people around you? What's one thing you can say or do that shows your faith in God to the people around you? As you're thinking about that, I'm going to pray for us, and then we'll head to small groups. Hey, Jesus, thank you for today. Thank you for this time we get to spend together. Thank you that you just ask us to take one step, God, that we don't have to try to do everything big and large, that we can just focus on the one moment in front of us and doing the right thing in that moment, God. And Lord, I just ask that you be with each one of these students as they're in their small groups, as they go into the week, that you would show them the places and spaces that they can do things your way. And I pray that you give them the courage to step out in that way, even if it's not easy. In your name I pray. Amen.